Yo, what's going on, everybody? Icy here, and welcome to another NBA preseason video. This one is my 2-game and 3-game slate takes for Sunday, October 13th, 2019. Before we get right into it, I did my first live stream last night for the Portland and Phoenix Suns showdown. I was very, very hectic. The news didn't come out till the very last end, 2, 3, 4 minutes. And I had no idea if Lillard, McCollum, and Whiteside were even playing. But I managed to survive that. Their ownerships are all very low. Lillard 45, McCollum 39, Whiteside was like 31. So very, very low ownerships. I'm surprised Frank Kaminsky was only 9.4% owned for some reason. I don't know. I was really high on him in my video. But yeah, I ended up doing really well here. I got 4th place, 72nd, 40th. 219, a bunch of these cash, so 13 out of 20 cashed altogether. I played very light because I had no idea what the news was saying, but very good for a GPP. Frank Kaminsky was criminally low owned there. Even someone like Scout, like there's a lot of low ownerships, but hey, you guys aren't here for that. You guys are here for my early game and main game slate takes, so let's get right into it. I will be posting my best and favorite plays for each team at the end of each take. So I'm going to do the early take first, and then I'm going to do the main slate right after that. So at the end of the early take, I'll have my best plays from each game. So if you want, fast forward the video or listen to my in-depth analysis. I'm going to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics game. So far this season, the Cleveland Cavaliers have played 2 preseason games, one overseas, one against an NBA team. They played against the Pistons most recently. In that game, C.D. Osman did not do that well. I expect him to bounce back. C.D. Osman is one of the key integral cogs to the Cavaliers offense this season. Played 27 minutes, did not have the greatest of games against the Pistons' size and strength here. Kevin Love was kind of duddy like he usually is. But look for C.D. Osman to bounce back here. Tristan Thompson, another guy I like. He's usually close to getting a double-double. Last game he almost did 8 rebounds, 15 points. Previous game against the overseas foreign team, he did double-double. He's someone who's I'm expecting to see around 26 to 30 minutes in a preseason game. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really high on him. I like him. Colin Sexton had a really good game last game, but he's hot and he's cold, and I don't really know for this game against the Celtics, who's a very tough, aggressive, defensively sound team. I don't know how much Colin Sexton really gets to go off here. I'm not too much of a fan, to be honest. I much rather go with some other guys, but he's someone who's definitely in play here. He's going to see a lot of minutes. He was their first-round draft pick last season. Someone they're going to someone whose growth they really want to accelerate, and playing him meaningless minutes in a preseason game against a really good opponent is a good way to do that. So Colin Sexton is someone that's definitely in play, but personally on my end is someone I won't be too high on. After that, Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson are 2 guys I'm usually really high on. They're usually underpriced, under-owned. They play good minutes off the bench, and they're very competitive and productive. Both of these guys are in a good matchup here against the Celtics, who are a very competitive team. I see the competitive side coming out. Larry Nance's rebounding ability is going to be needed here against the Boston Celtics teams, who's historically been really bad at rebounding. With the addition of Cantor, who they didn't really use that much last game, they're pretty bad at rebounding. So Larry Nance is a good pick here. I expect him to get a lot of rebounds. Same with Tristan Thompson. Celtics are really bad at rebounding. And then Jordan Clarkson didn't have a good game last game, but someone that when he gets hot, he can get hot quick. And for the sake of a 2-game slate, someone that I'd be considering as well. Brandon Knight's another sneaky play here. Shot 19 minutes, got 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. Historically, Brandon Knight's been able to let people down more than he's made them happy. I don't think this is a good spot for him against the Celtics team, but I thought I'd mention him because he's going to see minutes and he has a possibility of doing good. Moving along to the Boston Celtics side, my favorite play on the Celtics would have to be either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I'm expecting both of these guys to see a little uptick in minutes, although Brad Stevens is known to play his players around 20 minutes, the starters at least. Every now and then a player goes off. Actually, every game one player plays additional minutes. In 2018, when they played against the Cavaliers in the preseason, that happened to be Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is coming off a really good game, 21 minutes, 14 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, but that's mainly because Kemba Walker was not there. If Kemba Walker is coming back, then I don't think Marcus Smart is going to get the same type of volume, and even if he gets the same amount of minutes, I don't think he gets the same amount of opportunity to shoot the basketball as he did this previous game. Marcus Smart is more of a pesky defender, and they use him to, make the other guards' life miserable. So this was a good. He's always had this offensive output upside, but it comes very rarely. And tomorrow against the Cavaliers, especially if Kemba Walker plays, I'm not going to be too high on Marcus Smart. I'd rather go with Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, or hey, even Gordon Hayward should be in play. But aside from that, Enes Kanter, Brad Wanamaker, these are two guys that are getting minutes. Enes Kanter didn't have the greatest of games last game. I saw the game and he was just in the wrong place for rebounds more often than not. He did get 8, but he should have had a lot more. Some of the assists that he set people up with, they didn't make the shots. And he just wasn't really a factor scoring the basket that game. It's more trying to just be in the right place at the right time, and I think they were just trying to get him to do certain schemes. I think Enes Kanter gets an uptick in minutes here, but not much because Brad Stevens is Brad Stevens, and they're going to probably see all around 20, 22 minutes. So I wouldn't be too high on Kanter, but he's worth a mention, especially because they're probably going to struggle against the rebounding game against the Cavaliers with Tristan Thompson and Larry Nance. So Enes Kanter could see extra minutes in that regard. But Daniel Theis, same thing, 14 minutes, 9 rebounds, another good rebounder on this team that could see extra minutes just to get them the rebounds. Brad Wanamaker is a guy that sees 16 minutes, usually 14 to 16 minutes, but he's someone that can fill up the stat sheet in that limited amount of time. He's someone that I think will be seeing more minutes as the season progresses here for the Celtics, so he's definitely someone I'd consider here as a sneaky GPP play. But cash game, hell no, never. But just thought I'd mention him. And then Javonte Green's another sneaky play. I don't think he sees more minutes with the preseason ending and them getting closer to the season. I think they'd want to give their starters more of a concise run. So people like this would be slightly in consideration for me in GPP, but not too much. There's other guys I would like. Moving along to the Pelicans. Oh, man, the road to Zion Williamson, man. The Pelicans lucked out here. So far, it looks good. I wasn't buying the hype with the first 2 games against the Bulls and the Hawks, but then against the Jazz, man, Rudy Gobert, former Defensive Player of the Year, or this year's Defensive Player of the Year, one of the best defensive center big men in the league, and Zion got 26 points on him, 5 rebounds in 23 minutes. This guy is something else. I think he will be a problem for the league. Hopefully he stays healthy, but he's up against a Spurs team with LaMarcus Aldridge, and while I know Popovich doesn't like to play his guys that many minutes, he does as the preseason is ending, and I can see him using this game as a perfect opportunity to play his guys more minutes. With that said, Zion Williamson will probably be seeing LaMarcus Aldridge, Jakob Poeltl in some combination, and I wonder how he does. I'm sure Pop is going to have some strategies or some tactics that he's going to try and use to slow Zion down. But so far, it looks like it's very hard to slow this guy down. He's very fast, powerful, and he's very skillful with the basketball. It's for his size. It's pretty scary. So Zion Williamson, someone that's definitely in play for me on the Pelicans side. Aside from that, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's just been killing it in the preseason. He's steadily been getting more and more minutes and been doing better and better. I think his price is a little up there this time around, but he's someone I definitely have in consideration, especially if the Pelicans decide to give some of their starters a little bit of a rest here, especially against the Spurs, who play really slow and grimy. It could really break a team spirit, in my opinion. or they could utilize the matchup and give their starters more minutes, just like the Spurs will be doing. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a great start to the season. Preseason, the Pelican camp is very high on him. The DFS community is very high on him for good reason. Great player, great upside, someone to consider for sure. Aside from him, I like both Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Jrue Holiday if they play, all three of them. I like Jrue Holiday, Lonzo Ball, and then Brandon Ingram in that order. Brandon Ingram's a guy that when he's motivated and he does good, but sometimes his shot's not falling and he just goes away. He hides. He's gone. You don't know if he's even playing anymore. He's coming off of a good game against the Jazz, though. 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Hopefully he can continue that against the Spurs. Let's see. He's going to be up against DeMar or Derek White or DeJounte or God knows Rudy Gay, Tamari Carroll. There's a lot of guys. I wonder who he gets. Probably Rudy Gay. DeMar's not a good defender. But yeah, Brandon Ingram would be in play. Lonzo in play. Derek Favors, I'm not sure, but Spurs' size would make me think he would be. And considering David Favors might be a starter for the Pelicans, he's probably going to see a little bit of extra minutes here. They are winding down the preseason. However, I wouldn't bet everything on it because he is one of the older players on this team. Someone to look at is Kenrich Williams. I've been high on him so far along in this preseason, and he's let me down. He's probably going to let me down again tomorrow, but the minutes have been going up, and it's getting closer to the end of the preseason. If they want to give Zion a little bit of a rest because they've been playing him a lot of minutes so far, then Kenrich is definitely someone to look at. Moving along to the Spurs side. One of my favorite players on the Spurs side tomorrow is LaMarcus Aldridge. I feel like Popovich is really going to play him extended minutes. As you can see from 2018 in the last 3 preseason games, Popovich played the Spurs starters 26 to 30 minutes each. I expect something similar in this Pelicans matchup, given that the Pelicans have been really hot in this preseason and playing really, really well. LaMarcus Aldridge, it's a great opportunity to see him match up with Zion, and especially considering the Spurs and Pelicans could very well be fighting for the 7th or the 8th seed in the playoffs. This is a great time for Popovich to see how his team stacks up against this young up-and-coming Pelicans team. I like LaMarcus Aldridge. I like DeMar DeRozan. I like Rudy Gay here. These are my 3 favorite picks from the Spurs. Aside from that, Jakob Poeltl is someone I also like. He's been getting a lot of minutes, someone that I was really high on the Raptors. Great kid, great guy, goes out there, works really hard. I like to see how he does against Zion. He likes to take a challenge. So I don't think he stops him, but I think he shows up a little bit here. DeJounte Murray is another guy I like. He's coming back from injury last year. Didn't play that well last game, but the first game was great. I'll look for him to keep going, and Popovich is going to keep on pushing him to get more and more minutes under his belt and get him back into form before the season starts. So with that said, that's the end of my analysis. So these are my favorite plays by team. And at this point, I will minimize the screen so we can see the prices too. So on the Cleveland Cavaliers side, my favorite players are C.D. Osman. CD's around 4,400. That's too cheap, man. That's way too cheap for C.D. Osman. Like, he's too cheap. Way too cheap. Tristan Thompson, 5,200 is a great price here with the matchup, with the rebounding upside. I like it. Jordan Clarkson at 5,000. I'm alright with it. I don't mind it. Larry Nance at 6K is a little elevated, but considering the upside he has here, is someone to consider. He fills up the stat sheet. Kevin Love, I'm not too hot on. I just don't see the reason for him to play too many minutes here. Cavaliers are shit. They're not really going to make the playoffs. They don't really have a chance. So, why waste Kevin Love's precious minutes? So yeah, those are the 5 guys I like on the Cavaliers, with C.D. Osman, Tristan Thompson at the top, and I should probably change this. That's more like the order I like them in. On the Boston side, I like Jason Tatum, 6,500, very cheap in my opinion. Not very cheap actually, take that back. He's not seeing that many minutes right now. But I feel like he might see around 24, 22 minutes here, so it's worth a gander against the Cleveland Cavaliers team. I'd much rather go with Jaylen Brown here at 5,100. And if Kemba Walker's not playing, then I like Marcus Smart. But aside from that, Enes Kanter is someone I'd consider. Daniel Theis, maybe. But yeah, Smart, if no Kemba. Hayward also, if no Kemba, I like Hayward. But yeah, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown are my two favorite guys on the Celtics, with Marcus Smart coming in third if there is no Kemba. I also like Enes Kanter at this price, 4,400. Hopefully he plays a little bit more minutes. He did play 19, but hopefully he's more productive than he was in the previous game. Alright, moving along. New Orleans Pelicans. My favorite player on the Pelicans is Zion Williamson. 8,500 is getting up there, but so far he just hasn't let anybody down. San Antonio is one of the worst teams to play against, in my opinion. They slow the game down a lot. Popovich is a very good coach. He comes up with very crazy schemes to slow other opposing players down. However, it is preseason. I can't see them going too hard defensively, and Zion is in for another good game. Drew Holiday is my next favorite player on this thing, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker for sure. He's up there, second or third favorite play. After those two, Drew and Nickeil, I'd go with Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram in that order. On the San Antonio Spurs side, my favorite play would be LaMarcus Aldridge. DeMar DeRozan could be one of my favorite plays, but I think this is more of a LaMarcus Aldridge either showing up or shutting up. Not that he talks, but hope you know what I mean. But LaMarcus Aldridge here, 7,100. I love the price. I love his matchup with Zion. He's probably going to have to be used a lot if Pop wants to really get them a good look at Zion here and get his team to figure out how to stop Zion in case they're fighting with them for the playoff seed or something along those lines. DeMar DeRozan's a great guy. He's usually really hot at the beginning of the season. He comes in hot. All-Star break comes. He doesn't get picked for the All-Star break or something happens, and then he gets depressed. He becomes DeMar depressed. But for now in the preseason, he should be going and rolling, so I like DeMar DeRozan. Derek White is someone that has yet to show up in these preseasons. I don't know if he does here. But it would be a great opportunity against a lot of fellow young players. Very competitive pit bull type of player. DeJounte Murray is someone I also like. But honestly, if I was ordering my favorite Spurs players, it'd be LaMarcus, DeRozan, Rudy Gay, because I'm expecting all the starters to see extended minutes around 30, closer to 30, since it's the second last preseason game. And Pop is a guy that likes to get his team into shape right before the season starts. So I like Aldridge, DeRozan, Rudy Gay, and then I'd round it off with Poto and DeJounte Murray. So those are my favorite plays for the early slate guys. If you liked anything that I said, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're interested in the main slate, I'm going to start that now. So the main slate. The first game is between the 76ers and the Orlando Magic. We've seen the 76ers play 2 games so far this season. Sorry, I need to put my music back on, man. I was like, yo, what's going on? And don't hear nothing. But, sorry. 76ers. The 76ers tend to play their starters a lot of minutes as the preseason winds down, just like the Spurs and some of these other teams. I was really high on Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons last game. I'm still really high on these two guys. Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris for sure are locks for me tomorrow. Aside from that, Al Horford and Josh Richardson are both in play for me. Both of these guys are starting, and I'm expecting both to see 26 to 30 minutes. Aside from those guys, Mike Scott and Kyle Quinn would be in play if Embiid's out again. Kyle Quinn more so than Mike Scott. Kyle Quinn just has way more upside in GPP. I just like his upside compared to Mike Scott. So those are it for the Philadelphia side. On the Magic side, we've seen them play 4 preseason games already. Kind of tough to predict here, but their coach is one of the coaches that really likes to give his guys a run. With that said, and the matchup in consideration with the Magic, I like Vucevic here. I think it's time for Vucevic to have a great preseason game. Although I still think he's, out of all the starters, his minutes are the most limited. But I like his upside here. I don't per se think Aaron Gordon has a great game here against the 76ers. Tobias Harris, Al Horford, Ben Simmons should make it pretty difficult for Aaron Gordon to get to the basket. He's going to have to depend on his jump shot and three-pointer, and I don't know how great that's going to go for him. I'm not too high on him, but definitely in consideration in this 3-game slate. Jonathan Isaac's price too high. I don't really like him because of his price. If he was still somewhere in the 5,500 range, I'd like him, but 5,900, even, like, I should go with someone else. Aside from that, Al-Farouq Aminu is someone to consider who can fill up the stat sheet and randomly go off. It's high time. It's about time he just randomly dropped 20 points. Al-Farouq Aminu, young Al-Farouq Aminu. I know he's 33 or some shit. He's a prince, but he's young Al-Farouq Aminu to me. He can randomly drop 20 points and get a double-double or some shit. Trust me, man. This guy is wild. But yeah, he's someone I'm looking at just because of the matchup here with the 76ers. They're going to need his size and length, and he might see extended run here. Aside from that, Terrence Ross would be the only other guy I'd consider with the scoring upside. Someone that comes off the bench, and he's their sixth man. Very scoring dependent, but he can get hot in a minute, and I like him in this matchup. Moving along, Bulls versus Raptors. Bulls are resting all their starting players last game. Lauri Markkanen, Levine, Satoransky, Otto Porter, and God knows who else there didn't play. But I believe it was Thaddeus Young. But hey, my favorite plays tomorrow against the Raptors would be Lauri Markkanen. Without a shadow of a doubt. Number 1 for me, Lauri Markkanen. Number 2, Levine. Number 3, I would have to go with Kobe White. He's playing a lot of minutes, and yeah, the starters didn't play the last game, but he's someone that's just been playing a lot of minutes, and the Chicago Bulls media, staff, fans have been really high on this guy, and they've been giving him the minutes. I expect him to get more minutes here, especially against the Raptors team, who's probably going to be fielding some of their younger players towards the end of the game. So Kobe White has great opportunity here to be a repeat performer. Other than that, I like Thomas Satoransky. I don't think Chris Dunn's going to see starter minutes anymore in this league. His starting days are done for the Chicago Bulls. They're going to go with Thomas Satoransky or Kobe White from now on. Thaddeus Young could be a sneaky play with the Raptors' size. They might want to see how this works out. I think the Bulls somewhat think that they're a playoff contender in the East, especially how weak it is at the bottom. So I can see them thinking they're a playoff contender and wanting to take this game with the Raptors seriously. So far, they've shown that they're willing to give their guys minutes, and this is a great spot for them to give their guys a good run against a competitive Raptors team. On the Raptors side, man, I like Siakam, I like Ibaka, I like Powell, I like Van Vliet. Those 4 guys are the guys I really, really like on the Raptors. They've just been performing really well the whole offseason. I've seen Norman Powell, Van Vliet, and Siakam in pickup games with all the stars in the NBA. They've been going at it with all the stars the whole offseason. I've seen probably like 20 videos of these guys going at it in scrimmages with people. These guys have worked extremely hard in the offseason, and it shows in their first 2 games against the Houston Rockets in preseason. In 22 minutes, these guys have just been performing really, really well. Granted, Houston Rockets aren't the best defensive teams with Harden and Westbrook on the court, but they still have PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, Capella to go with. And those guys also played starter minutes on the Rockets. So this was a very competitive game. First game, Van Vliet played 28 and 27 minutes for Siakam. Very, very good game. Aside from these 4 guys, some other guys I would consider here would be Marc Gasol. He played limited minutes in that one game, the second game in Japan. He did have a really long year so far with the FIBA Cup and the playoff run for the Raptors. I don't think they give him too many minutes here. I think instead they give it to Chris Boucher or DeJuan Hernandez. My bet would be Chris Boucher, who didn't play that many minutes, who is the defensive and offensive player for the G League. He won both things, offensive and defensive player in the G League. This guy is a real threat. As you can see, 18 minutes, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 12 points. Just watch this guy play. Trust me, you guys will fall in love with this kid. This kid can actually play ball. I'm really excited for this guy. Hope the Raptors really give him a chance, give him his minutes that he deserves. Screw with DeJuan Hernandez, man. Give it to Chris Boucher. Moving along to the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks. One of the teams that will be one of the top teams in the East this year. My favorite plays on the Milwaukee Bucks were Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. Like the Spurs, like the Magic and some other teams, Coach Budenholzer likes to give his guys extended runs as the preseason winds down, and with this being their second last game of the preseason, I see Giannis, Middleton getting extended runs here. Aside from these two guys, Middleton's actually not had a really good preseason so far, but I can see him stepping up here and going off against this Wizard team who's really lacking a lot of options. But aside from Giannis and Middleton, DiVincenzo, Dragon Bender, both of these guys are in play for me. In their minutes, they have been performing night in and night out. These are two guys that will be really utilized in the Milwaukee Bucks lineup throughout the season. DiVincenzo for sure, and if Dragon Bender keeps this up, then I can see him being used a lot as well. Really good player, very tall, spaced the floor, offensively gifted in a sense. So I like both Dragon Bender and Dante DiVincenzo. Cheap GPP plays for me. Other than that, Ilyasova is someone that can get really, really hot in a minute. Just like Kaminsky today in the showdown, he's someone that could just go off if he's given a chance, if the matchup is right, and this matchup will be right. Frank Mason's another guy that I would consider just with the injury to Eric Bledsoe. George Hill's not going to see that many minutes. He is a vet, pretty old. I think the minutes fall mainly to Frank Mason and DiVincenzo, and DiVincenzo's been given his chance. I think Frank Mason should be given another chance. In the 127-minute game, he played 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 14 points. Not bad. Against this Wizard matchup, I think he's in a good spot here. And then the last team, the Washington Wizards. I don't know if Hachimura plays. If he plays, he'd be someone I'd highly consider. But Maurice Wagner, Thomas Bryant, these two guys are the guys I really like in this game. I don't know how much Bradley Beal plays, if he plays at all. If he does play, he's in consideration 100%, especially with the lack of studs available here. But Bradley Beal would be in consideration. But, man, Thomas Bryant and Mo Wagner are two guys I really, really love. Their price is not all that bad for the upside. And these guys are just going to be two very highly owned plays tomorrow in the main slate. And for good reason. I like them. Aside from those, Justin Anderson and Jordan McRae are two guys to look at. Jordan McRae has been scoring double-digit points in both of the preseason games so far. Justin Anderson he got his first double-digit point almost in the first game too against the Knicks. But Jordan McRae would really be the guy who was really hot last game. The bench was loving him, the Wizards bench. Maybe he keeps that hot streak going. Sneaky GPP play for me. So with that said, my favorite plays on this slate. So on the 76ers, man, I'm in love with their 4 starters. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. I don't even care about the prices. Tobias Harris is just too damn cheap. 6,300. Come on, give me a break. He outperformed Ben Simmons last game. But yeah, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Josh Richardson, Al Horford. I like all these guys. James Ennis, I don't know what's been going on with his minutes, but if he find out he's going to be playing a little bit more minutes, he's someone I consider too. He's a very hot, streaky guy. He can randomly go off in the playoffs. He just had some crazy games and just messed up the slate totally last year in the playoffs. So maybe he does it tomorrow. Who knows? But other than him, Kyle O'Quinn, if no Embiid, he just has more upside compared to Mike Scott, in my opinion. So Kyle O'Quinn would be the other guy I'd look at this game. On the Orlando side, Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, Terrence Ross, Michael Carter-Williams, all guys I would consider. And if anybody is limited or out, like Fournier, Aaron Gordon, even Vucevic, then I like Wes Iwundu a lot more. He should see extended minutes. and should be able to perform here in this matchup. Excuse me. On the Bulls side, I like Levine. I like Markkanen as my top 2 picks. Otto Porter and Kobe White, I would have to tie. We still have to see if these guys play, but I'm pretty sure they're going to play. So Kobe White, Otto Porter would be guys I would consider. Kobe White for sure at this price. He's going to get minutes. Luke Cornett, Denzel Valentine are both guys that could go off in GPPs, but I'm not going to be too high on them myself. Thaddeus Young, someone that you can consider. But the 4th guy would be Satoransky for me. So Levine, Markkanen, Otto Porter, Cody White, and 5th guy would be Satoransky for me. On the Raptors side, Siakam, Van Vliet, Ibaka, Norman Powell in that exact order. Ibaka is just too damn cheap, 4,600. He's going to see 26 or 22 to 24 minutes. Right? 22 to 24 minutes. Actually, you see around 18 to 22 minutes, but he's just goes out there and performs. I like Ibaka tomorrow. He's someone that's going to be in play for me. And then Chris Boucher is going to be in play for me. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson could be in play for me. He saw a lot of minutes as well. He's still finding his place on this Raptors team. Stanley Johnson is someone I was really high on, but so far I haven't seen anything that I really like from him. And Nick Nurse is just putting out some stupid lineups in my opinion for preseason. But yeah, Van Vliet, Norman Powell, Ibaka, Siakam, my 4 favorite Raptors. And Chris Boucher would be my sneaky GPP play because I know he's going to be playing in the 4th quarter. On the Milwaukee Bucks side. On the Bucks side, I like Giannis, obviously. I like Middleton. If we find out that the Bucks are going to be giving their starter extended runs. I like DiVincenzo, Dragonbender because of their upside and their consistency so far in the preseason. And Ilyasova is a sneaky pick I like in GPPs in case he goes off. On the Washington Wizards, I really like Thomas Bryant. I really like Mo Wagner. I see both of these guys having great games. I like Mo Wagner, especially if Hachimura is out. If Hachimura is playing, then I'm not too high on Mo Wagner. But if he's out, I'm down with the Wags. Bradley Beal for sure, 100%. If he's playing, can get 30-40 DraftKings points in those limited minutes. And then Justin Anderson and Jordan McRae GPP plays that I'd consider at their price point and their upside 3-game slate. So yeah guys, that's my main game slate take. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what I could do better. Let me know how I can improve these videos. Hopefully I help you guys win some money. And yeah, thanks for tuning in guys. All the best. Take care. Good luck.